Welcome to Red Sox Digest, the only show where pain, sarcasm, and a dash of hope collide nightly like a Trevor Story strikeout. We cover every loss, every meltdown, and yes, even the rare win, with brutally honest takes and zero front office fluff. Subscribe today at RedSoxDigest.com or risk being left out in the cold like a home game in April. And now, here's the crew at Red Sox Digest.
Good evening, sports fans, and welcome to another edition of Red Sox Digest. I am your host tonight, Jim Dalfino. And before anyone accuses me of being negative, relax. I'm not negative. I'm experienced, which as a Red Sox fan in 2025 just means I've been lied to by optimism before, many times. Usually by people wearing suits who say things like sustainable success while actively doing nothing. I don't trust front offices, I don't trust press releases, and I definitely don't trust the phrase, we're comfortable with where we are. I hear that and immediately assume the roster was built in Microsoft Excel by someone who's never seen a baseball bounce funny off the green monster. Joining me tonight is Nick Face, a man who treats every Red Sox transaction like it personally keyed his car. Nick doesn't watch baseball, he prosecutes it. If Wilson Contreras goes 0 for 3, Nick's already calling for accountability hearings and yelling at a fan in row 12 who dared to clap politely. And also joining us tonight is John Martinello, who still believes logic exists in baseball operations. John's calm, rational, and prepared, which tells me he hasn't yet experienced the joy of watching this team stop spending the moment it hits a self-imposed financial ceiling. Don't worry, John, that innocence won't last past April. All right, let's talk about the move everybody's pretending answers everything. Wilson Contreras was traded from the St. Louis Cardinals and is now a member of the Boston Red Sox. And yes, on paper, it's a good player, productive, edge, power, leadership, all the words that usually show up right before we're told not to look at the age. Because here's the part that everyone keeps glossing over. He's 34. That matters a lot, especially for a team that suddenly gets nervous anytime a birth certificate starts with 19. And let's be honest, the money subsidized, that's not a feature. That's a red flag. The Red Sox didn't pounce on a market inefficiency. They waited until someone else paid part of the bill. That isn't bold. That is a coupon clipping at Stop and Shop. And here's the part that really bugs me. This deal puts them right up against the first luxury tax line, which means, say it with me, they're probably done. That's the fear. Not that Contreras is bad, not that he can't help, but that is the move. The one they only point and say, see, we did the thing. And suddenly, we're told going over the tax would be irresponsible, like the Boston Red Sox are a family budgeting back to school supplies. Now ask yourself this honestly. Does Wilson Contreras at 34 change the outcome of last season? Does he turn an 89-win team into 92? Does he scare the Blue Jays? Does he make the Yankees lose sleep? Or is he just better vibes and slightly more slug? Because this lineup didn't lose last year due to vibes. It lost because it lacked a difference maker. One bat doesn't fix that, especially one with mileage. Especially not one that conveniently allows ownership to say we tried while staying under a number that they treat like federal prison. This feels like a half measure masquerading as aggression. Useful player? Yes. Necessary upgrade? Probably. Enough? Not even close. And that's the danger. Not that Contreras fails, but that he succeeds just enough to justify standing pat. So now the question isn't, is Wilson Contreras good? The question is this where it stops? Because if it is, we've seen this movie before, and it ends with press conferences, excuses, and Nick Face screaming into the internet void by June. And that's the bottom line.
Coming tonight.
And that's the bottom line. And now it's time for the word of the day.
And now it's time for Nick Face's Word of the Day.
This was a joint effort on today's word of the day by Jim and I, and the word is zero. John, do you have any idea why the word is zero? I'm going to throw it to you first.
Lay it on me. I want to hear about
No
this.
idea?
No idea.
Okay. Get ready to be entertained or not entertained by the statement that I just read here. Here it goes, folks. Zero is the total amount of money the Red Sox have spent on free agency this season or this offseason from 2025. Congratulations, $0. We're doing great. That was a toad clapping. But that is just where we're at. Now, we can change the topic for a second because we do need to go over the Wilson Contreras move. We've talked about it. Jim, even before John was here, we chatted quite a bit about this being one of the more predictable, boring, sleepy kind of moves because Chaim Bloom and Craig Breslow sleep in the same bed together. That's why this deal went together. That's what happened. That's because they're BFFs. There is also breaking news as we come into this recording here right now from Ken Rosenthal that says that the Red Sox and the Cardinals are yet again engaged in another trade that would send Brendan Donovan, the second baseman from the Cardinals, to the Red Sox. Breslow and Bloom sitting in a tree. Kissing. That's my jingle for tonight. This is what it is. The rest of the league doesn't want to trade and doesn't want to deal with Breslow. It's sick. This is sick. I don't even know if I should be. I don't have a feeling right now on this because I feel it's just like
I'm numb.
I don't got anything. I don't have anything. I think Wilson Contreras is a fine player. He's 34. I don't know what else to expect on it. Jim will probably throw the comp up of what Jim and I talked over about when this deal happened last night, and it's Mike Napoli. If you want to compare something to it, there's nothing more crystal clear than this being like a Mike Napoli deal. The problem here is that Contreras, again, age 34, that's an older than what we had with Mike Napoli when he was here. Don't get me wrong. I like Napoli for 2013. Thank you very much for the World Series. I'll never forget the big hit off Justin Verlander to win. I think that was game 5 against the Tigers in the ALCS. But I was done after 2013, guys, with him. I don't know about you. I was kind of done. I appreciate it. Thank you. But if you remember, even with the Napoli deal, when this was all going down, the Red Sox had initially agreed on like a 3-year, was it close to $50 million? And then the medicals started coming in about there being concern on the knee and all these other things. This just feels like a deja vu scenario to me. And that's why I'm not throwing a party about this move right here, because I think Bloom was done with Contreras. I don't want to say anything bad about him because there really isn't anything. He's a consistent pro. He's going to give you about 20 home runs. He's going to get about 50, 60 RBIs, something in that ballpark, maybe higher. I'm questioning the durability. He played in a high of 135 games last season. He only played in one other season, and we went over this on the last show where it was with the Cubs. I want to say it was 2018, right around there. It was like about 140-ish games. He's not very durable. And I know he was a catcher and he's converted over to first. But this is just like the backup B, C, D, E kind of move that we all wanted Alonso, and now it's just another thing. If you want to be happy about anything, guys, on this move, it's the fact that Tristan Casas' butt is back down to Worcester now to prove it, because that at least makes me a little bit more happy, I would say, than having to go into the season with another opportunity and another chance for Tristan Casas to fall on his face. He can go rake down in AAA, and you know what I hope he does, because then that will increase his trade value. There's been a lot of chatter today and last night into the whole thing about, oh, well, now you can trade Casas and get him out of here. He's not worth a bucket of baseballs, folks, right now. So let's pump the brakes on that right now. If we're going to make a trade, he's got to get that value back up somehow in some way. Because right now, it's just nothing. He's not worth anything. If you want a box of Big League Chew, there you go under your Christmas tree. That's what you get. You're not going to get anything. Even Chaim Bloom hasn't asked for him. You know that if he did, he'd be on that team right now. That sucker. But no, he's not there. So that's where I'm at on the Contreras front. We can talk about the Brendan Donovan news a little bit later on. But overall, the word of the day, back to the central point, is zero. We have done $0 in free agency spending this offseason. Let that sink in.
Nick's word of the day is sponsored by the Red Sox Duck Boat Brake Pedal, officially installed after every championship parade and immediately slammed to the floor for the next 7 years. The Duck Boat Brake Pedal activates the moment the team shows signs of real momentum. One title, break, 2 deep runs, emergency break, a chance to build a dynasty. The pedal locks, the engine stalls, and ownership calmly says we don't want to overspend. Features include the post-championship caution mode and the luxury tax sensitivity control, and a dashboard light that reads, "You've done enough." Tested and proven, works flawlessly from 2019 through present day. The Red Sox Duck Boat Brake Pedal, built in Boston.
And if you need a backup, call Jake Peavy.
Exactly. A couple things you brought up about Casas, and if anybody wants to go through my timeline, they'll see it. I did write that I said that this is not the right time to trade Casas, and I am no Casas supporter. Anybody that reads anything I write or hears anything I say, especially you guys, know that I could give a flying leap for Tristan Casas.
He's coming to Christmas dinner for you, though, right?
Yeah, he's actually invited. I gave him the wrong address. Here's the thing. And I know who you're referencing. There was a guy today that said you could trade him and flip him for some of the stud relievers from the Padres. Everybody thinks we can fleece everybody else, which I hate to interrupt myself, but there was a tweet today from somebody on the Cardinals, one of the Cardinals guys. He said, we fleeced Breslow, and you get our team that says we fleeced Bloom. So it's just funny how no one knows anything. The thing about Casas, you got to put him back down in the minor leagues, let him build up some value, and then at the trade deadline, trade him then. Because right now, like you said, he's worth nothing, and you're not going to get anything for him. So you might as well hold on to him for a little bit and see what happens there. But I want to move on. It's time for the Martinello Minute.
And now the part they don't want said out loud. No spreadsheets or corporate spin. Just the truth. Raw and impatient. This is the Martinello Minute.
Yeah, so we're going to start going back a couple weeks. We heard about the Red Sox being interested in Contreras about 2 weeks ago. Chris Castillo and Katie Wu kind of were the first ones to bring it to light. As I discussed on the last episode, I wouldn't mind the trade, Red Sox adding him to the roster, but I didn't want it to happen just because Craig Breslow has to put on his big boy pants and call someone other than Chaim Bloom. But I mean, as far as Contreras goes as a fit in Boston, adding that right-handed bat, that includes a little bit of pop. It's a massive upgrade at the end of the day. His pull air percentage took a massive leap from 24 to 25. 24 is around 13%, and then that got all the way up to about 20%. And over one season, that's in a category of its own. And that being tied to the Green Monster only gives the reason for that number to continue to climb as he heads over to Boston. The Red Sox finally got somebody who knows what they're doing at first base. He was in the 91st percentile with 6 outs above average last year, which was tied for 4th among all first basemen in baseball. And not to mention that last season was his first at first base. So he has he also has a strong and accurate arm. Nick was pointing to his health and his durability. I'm not too concerned about that. Outside of last year, he was a primary catcher, where those guys, if you play over 140 games in a season, that's phenomenal. And in 2024, his last season as a primary catcher, he got screwed over with some freak injuries. He caught a bat off his forearm, which broke it, and he was out. That cost him a third of the season in itself. So outside of the catching position, he tallied the most games played in the season since 2018, where he made his first All-Star game with the Cubs. His WRC plus over the last 2 seasons compares nearly identically with Pete Alonso's. Obviously, he doesn't have the power at this point in his career, but a 20 to 25 homer pop is enough at the position to give the Red Sox the last couple of years, ever since Mitch Moreland in 2019, have had little to no home run production at the first base position. His strikeout percentage is lower than Pete Alonso's as well, so that kind of inches into the discussion between him and Alonso. Last year he was at a 25.5% strikeout clip, which is a little bit above league average, but his chase rate dropped drastically from his career average. And as far as what the Red Sox sent out to acquire him, for me, it hurts a little bit. I don't necessarily think that the Red Sox overpaid it all in this deal, and especially once you account in the $8 million that St. Louis sent over. But losing out on Hunter Dobbins, who was great before tearing his ACL, and he was a phenomenal dugout presence. It's a massive hit to the clubhouse in my eyes. But with that being said, Wilson Contreras has been known as a great leader in St. Louis and with the Cubs before then. And I think that with how young this roster still is, having that veteran presence is key. And as we saw with Bregman being a mentor for so many of the young guys last year, I think that's going to go a long way. To sum things up, I like the player. I'm okay with the package sent over. And I know that the Red Sox are getting a player who has a massive upgrade over what's primarily been there since Mitch Moreland, as I said earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, look, the bottom line here is that this is not a problem with Wilson Contreras. This is not a problem with the trade. I think our entire staff would do this trade. The problem we have is it's not enough, and it needs to be recognized that it's not enough. And at the best scenario, this is no more than a lateral move with Nathaniel Lowe. I mean, I'm not trying to compare him to Nathaniel Lowe, but at the end of the day, you're talking about a guy that hits close to 20 home runs, plays pretty good first base defense. He's left-handed, Lowe. We understand that. But, this isn't a needle mover in and of itself. This is not trading for Fernando Tatis or Manny Machado or acquiring, anybody, Ohtani, some kind of household name. That's not what happened here. And we can't lose sight of the fact that it is not what happened. And if this is going to be the end, which is what my fear is, it's not enough. The Martinello Minute is proudly brought to you by the Red Sox front office snow globe. Give it a shake, and inside you'll see the 2018 championship team still frozen in time, confetti falling forever, and a tiny executive figurine saying, "We're closer than it looks." No matter how much the league changes outside the globe, inside it's always the same offseason. Same talking points, same budget ceiling, same belief that vibes count as roster construction. The snow globe is completely sealed, meaning no outside criticism, no modern context, and absolutely no urgency to get in. The Red Sox front office snow globe. Shake it all you want. Nothing inside ever changes. So I want to talk a little bit about the press conference, just a couple highlights that came up. Craig Breslow said, "There's only so much you can dig into your system in trades. Free agency is part of the equation here." Nick, I want to go to you. I want to go to you first because obviously it was part of your initial talking point. This tells me that Breslow is still open to free agency. Why don't I believe that?
Because nobody wants to deal with him outside of Chaim Bloom. The Dodgers already know exactly who Craig Breslow is. We don't want to deal with the Dodgers anymore. I'm done. I don't want another move from them. Make another move with another friend. I'm sure Ben Sherrington's going to get the next call. It's just how he is. And then we also have Mike Hazen over with the Diamondbacks.
We got Oviedo. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's working with all of our BFFs. That's it. Everybody else in the industry and in the league thinks he's a joke. He's a stiff. Exactly what the executive that left the organization said earlier about Brez. He's a stiff. And we're seeing every ounce of why this is blowing up in your face yet again here for the Red Sox organization. Have we said it enough how much Dave Dombrowski is missed by this team? I don't think it's been said enough how badly mistaken the Red Sox were blaming him, because everything in those last 6 years since Dave Dombrowski has not been here have been a disaster written all over it. And people can want to blame Dave Dombrowski for trading prospects to get Craig Kimbrell and then prospects again to trade to get Chris Sale. But at the end of the day, he got the job done and you got a championship out of 2018. And how are those prospects doing yet again that got traded by Dealer Dave? Most of them aren't even playing baseball anymore. So it's just sickening. I think a lot of the heat came from when Nate Eovaldi's contract got signed and you were in kind of a penny pinching kind of 2019 season, but that just catastrophically fell and collapsed this organization. It really did. And it made it the joke that it is right now. I don't believe a word out of Breslow's Pinocchio nose whatsoever. Like we've talked about, I'm actually even surprised this Contreras deal went through, because we all thought going into it when the season ended, I hate repeating myself. I sound like a broken record, but I said, don't be surprised if you get Casas at first, whether it's Marcelo Meyer at second or Romy Gonzalez at second, Story at short, Nate Eaton, Marcelo Meyer at third, Roman Anthony left, Ceddanne Rafaela center, Will Abreu right, Jarren Duran your DH. That's just how it's going to be with Yoshida on your bench. It's not good enough. And even if we go in and bring back Alex Bregman, it's still not good enough. So Breslow even coming out here and saying, oh, we need another bat. No, you don't. You need 2 more bats, dude, at least. But that's just wishful thinking here for us. If we were assembling the team, we would know what we needed to do. He doesn't have a friggin' clue what he's doing. He's just hoping his best friends are going to bail him out.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the landscape of what we've traded with, and you brought it up. Obviously, you have Chaim Bloom, he's traded with St. Louis, obviously a former guy here, former GM, CEO.
Multiple times now.
You had Sherrington, who you brought up for Oviedo. You had Paul Taboni, who was a former Red Sox that you got this reliever Bennett from.
Yep.
And you had heavy discussions with Mike Hazen in Arizona. It's almost as if we need someone to be on like the Padres that we can deal with. I'm surprised we haven't gotten anything from Seattle at this point. It's absolutely mind-boggling that it appears that he can't work with anybody else but a former employee. I mean, I don't know if it's just coincidental or not. John, what's your take on Breslow's comment here about free agency is still part of the equation? Is this more smoke and mirrors from the Brez?
Yeah, I mean, so, anything that he says has to be taken with a grain of salt. He brought up that after the Sonny Gray trade that they were done with pitchers in the 3 through 10 part of the rotation, and then he immediately goes out and trades for Oviedo. But I mean, as far as the free agency portion of that comment goes, I kind of I want to believe him. And as far as my thoughts go, I think that the Red Sox have a plan A, B, and C going forward as we enter the new year and, get ready for spring training. I think that plan A still at this point is the Alex Bregman. Reports from Chris Cotillo say that the Red Sox are currently at like a 4th year as far as the contract goes on him, but they're hesitant. to tack on a 5th-year player option. Plan B, I think, is still Bo Bichette. If Kyle Tucker doesn't sign with the Blue Jays, I find it pretty hard to believe that Breslow's going to win a bidding war against them. So if Tucker ends up in Toronto, I feel good about Boston's chances of landing a Bo Bichette. And then plan C, I think, is a trade for Ketel Marte. I know reports immediately after the Contreras trade last night were that Boston were out on him. But when you financially factor in where they are at with the CBT thresholds and with the uncertainty of how Breslow is with signing a free agent, I find it pretty hard to believe that he called Hazen last night and said that they're good on Ketel Marte. And then also Ken Rosenthal today tweeted out that the answer for the Red Sox is Alex Bregman. If not him, it's Bo Bichette. And the way that Breslow has operated this offseason, making one economically shrewd move after another, the Red Sox are in perfect position to strike. They have the money, time to spend it.
Yeah, I had one guy say some kind of comment to me today on Twitter. He says, well, you just saved $28 million that you got back from making these trades. And to that, I said, who gives a royal ass? I mean, you're talking about the Boston Red Sox. You shouldn't have to make moves where there's a subsidy and the Red Sox get money out of the deal. This organization has been one that's printed its own money since the beginning of time. And it was so clearly evident during the early 2000s how they would just maul over everybody to get what they wanted, whether it was necessary or it was just, kind of like an extra Christmas present, in at the under the tree. And Daisuke Matsuzaka comes to mind. I know we talked about him on the show in the past. They didn't need to have him in 2007. They wanted him, then they were aggressive. They tried to do that with a couple other guys. I mean, look at Teixeira. They went hard after Teixeira, and they had a deal in place with Teixeira. It was just the Yankees wound up, I think, putting an extra year or extra per annual value, AAV. I forgot what it was, but you get my point. And then there was the Cuban pitcher. What was his name? That Theo went down to the Cuba or the Dominican, and he was in that hotel room. I can't think of his name. I don't know if you guys remember.
Not Contreras, right? He used to play for the Yankees. Jose
Contreras, right? Where they try to get him. Those are just a couple that didn't work out. But when they want to spend their money and get what they want, this should never, ever, ever be a situation where the Red Sox need to subsidize money on players, not with the resources they have and not with the money that they make. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Jim, a lot of this stems from the fact that Henry feels like every deal that he's done on free agency has burned him. That's what this problem is. And yes, it's been this way since the last major deal that was done, which was David Price. John Henry has refused to hand out anything larger since that point.
Yeah, and if I could butt in for a second, I think that as far as the fan base goes at this point, I think that they think that it's their money being taken out of their pockets when the Red Sox sign players. I don't know why it's a discussion ever about why it's a problem spending too much money on a player, overspending on a player. It's not our money. It's John Henry's. We shouldn't give a rat's ass about how much money a player costs.
Absolutely. And it was another tweet I had out there too. A guy, there was some guy said something stupid, and I said, do you want to win or not? And he came back and he said, well, you can't give away all your young pitching prospects. Why not? Why do I have to hold on to anyone? Dave Dombrowski got criticized so much for being a guy who guts farm systems. And, you brought that up earlier tonight, Nick. I tell everybody, I say, for as much as you're upset about that, name me one trade that you want back. Because I'll be honest with you, there is not one trade. The only guy he traded that had any sort of major league career, honestly, was Manny Margot, and the pitcher that they gave up in the Chris Sale trade. That's on the
Michael Kopech.
Michael Kopech.
Yeah,
that's it.
And Juan Moncada did nothing. He became
and Kopech's
a serviceable player, but nothing.
And Kopech's had like 65 Tommy John surgeries at this point. So there's been no trade. Look, these guys are lottery tickets. People that are going to get upset about Dobbins and Tolle and Early. Look, I like Early too. I like Tolle too. Do I think they're going to be front of the end rotation guys? No. I'd love to be wrong. Believe me, I'd love to be wrong. But you know what? I've been watching this team too long. I've been watching baseball too long to know that there's something that's just not there with either one of those guys, including Dobbins and including Fitz. And here's the other thing. I know your buddy said this today, I think it was, that the Red Sox pitching program is for real. And I got a problem with that. No, Micah said it. But here's, and I'm not trying to pick
Buzz. Buzz.
I'm not trying to pick on him particularly, but for those fans that think that the pitching program here is elite, one of the things I've got to tell you that is, if it's so elite, why are you trading Richard Fitz? Why are you trading Hunter Dobbins? Well, you got to give something to get something.
We're going to pump out some more, Jim. We're going to pump them out.
You know, this is the problem I have with it. And so instead of look at the Marte situation, they're talking about moving pitching or even Marcelo Mayer for that. So instead of just going out and signing your own guy, Bregman, to a real contract last year, or going out and going after Bichette, who's 27 for a 7 or 8 year deal, now you got to talk about giving up more guys. And so now it's like, oh, hands off. We're done now. We're not going to go ahead and go after Marte, which is on the screen. And it irritates me because this is what the Red Sox and how they operate over the last few years. They get to the edge of the pool and they won't dive in. So you do these trades, you get Sonny Gray, you get Wilson Contreras, and it's like, oh, can't do any more. We can't give away any more of the farm. And that just drives me insane. Moving on.
Can I say one thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
You wanted to say something too.
Go ahead, John.
The last thing I wanted to mention from the presser that really irritated me the most out of what Breslow said was that the pitching seems like it's all set, the starting pitching. That irritated me the most because we have lobbied since the season ended that the only way this team is going to get anywhere is if they have another piece with Crochet. I am sorry. Sonny Gray is not a number 2 pitcher. Brian Bayo is not a number 3 pitcher. No. Why can't they get this point across to themselves? I don't get it. So that's what irritated me the most. And that right there, if they go into the season with what the rotation is right now, it is not good enough, folks. It is not. Mark my words.
Well, Nick, the other part is, then I'll go to John. It's what people don't understand is that the way that the rotation is right now, even if Sonny Gray was your second starter, I'm not calling him a number 2. He's your second starter, and Bayo was slotted 3rd, Oviedo 4th, 5th, whatever. Look, during the regular season, you could live with that. You cannot live with that sort of talent when you get into the postseason. And that's what should have been very crystal clear to every Red Sox fan and every Red Sox executive in this postseason. Crochet was nails, and then you fell off the wagon. And that's what happens when you don't have the right roster construction to be built for October. So when people
have a guy that is complementary to a Derek Lowe, a Tim Wakefield, heck, even 2003 John Burkett, you don't have that. And the quicker fans realize it, the better.
Yeah. John, go ahead.
Yeah, so going back to giving up too many prospects, can you name I'll go through the list right now for pitchers in the top 15 on the Red Sox on Sox prospects. You got Tolle, Early, Witherspoon, Valera, Bennett, who they just acquired, Sandelin, Marcus Phillips, Anthony Ianson, Henry Godbout, or Godbout's not even a pitcher, and Uberstein, who the Red Sox, no, they didn't trade for him, never mind. But can you guys see any of those guys being in the next 5 to 8 years at top of the rotation arm? Maybe outside of Witherspoon?
Witherspoon was the only one.
So why do you
possibly?
Yeah. So why the hell do you care about trading any of them if it's going to make the club better today?
Well, that's just it. And so this is the other argument that I'm going to give Red Sox fans. If you believe that you are in a window of contention and a window to win, just like in 2017, when Dave Dombrowski identified the fact that we were in a 3-year window of contention and he went out and got Chris Sale to have 2 co-aces at the front of that rotation, this is the same situation. You have Garrett Crochet, who's going to be in his age 26 season. You have a window of contention. If you believe that you have a window of contention here and you're going to hold on to Duran, who's got 2 more years and so on, then why is it that you have to pull up short at the edge of the pool? Dive right in and do what needs to be done to upgrade your roster. And again, for the people that come at me on Wilson Contreras, oh, he's much better upgrade than – look, here's the thing. You look at I asked somebody today, I said, would you rather have Wilson Contreras or would you rather have Nathaniel Lowe? And somebody said Wilson Contreras without question. Well, Wilson Contreras has an OPS plus of 118. Nathaniel Lowe had a OPS plus of 116, 2 points lower. So either OPS plus, and a lot of these nerd stats are garbage, or, he was a lot better than we think he was. And I'm not saying that I would want Lowe over Contreras, but I just don't like when people say that this was a fleece, that this was the greatest signing since, David Ortiz, because it wasn't. Moving right along, the Red Sox remain engaged with third baseman Alex Bregman about a return to Boston as well, with club officials remaining hopeful, not necessarily either optimistic or pessimistic. Nick, I'll start with you. We're kind of beating a dead horse here, so we don't have to spend much time on it. But at this point, do you want him back? Do you not? I don't want him back.
I don't want him back. I've made up my mind on that front. I think on the last show I said that too. I would go hard on Bo Bichette. And I think one of the other pieces that I think you have to think about here is that now with Wilson Contreras apart in your lineup, he's a strikeout kind of guy. You need contact so desperately on this team. You have Duran, who whiffs like a you-know-what. You've got Bregman, if he's there. Again, he strikes out a pretty decent amount of time. The Ks are anemic throughout this team. And you have got to get somebody like a Bo Bichette, a true professional hitter, contact to move the ball around. If you can put him with Roman Anthony, I feel good about that. I don't feel anything with Bregman. We've seen this chapter already. I think what we've seen is what we're going to get from Alex Bregman if he does come back. And if the Red Sox do link him up with a 4-year deal, number one, I'll be surprised. Number one. But number two, if John Henry keeps on being the owner here of the Red Sox, and if this goes bad, don't expect another free agent signing ever again under his ownership. Don't expect it. So that's kind of where I'm at on that chapter there. So this is a very important decision here that the Red Sox make. Well, obviously, number one is if they're going to make some sort of a decision with Bregman or a Bo Bichette. And then number two, you got to figure out what the contract would be. Now, if you go and give Bo Bichette, that 5-year, say it's 175, I'm comfortable with that myself. It's not my money, as John said earlier. I'm cool with that. If it hits even 200, I'm okay with that as well too, because I know the value that's there. A guy that can, number one, get on base and can hit the damn baseball, make contact, do something productive when you're up there at the plate, instead of these statues and whiff queens that are up there 24/7. I can't do it anymore. We didn't even get into like your Willie Abreu's. It's boom or bust with him. Today and Rafaela, Jim, you and I talked to you about my feelings on that. If I was in charge of this team, my only outfielder I keep, because I believe in, is Roman Anthony. And if people want to come at me and say I'm not a fan of Rafaela, that's not true. I just understand here if you want sustainability and you want to win and you want production, I can't sit here and tell you confidently that over the next 4 or 5 seasons, Ceddanne Rafaela is going to do it. With the glove, yes. Don't question that. Glove is amazing. Maybe even better than JBJ. We'll see on that. But when it comes to the bat, I can't go through another part of Red Sox eras here with another guy with a bat that's like JBJ. I can't do it anymore. He's a right-handed Jackie Bradley Jr. to me with the bat right now. And if the rest of your lineup is not good enough, you are exposed. And I'm telling you right now, Ceddanne Rafaela will be exposed. If you do nothing and don't bring in another bat, probably 2, again, what we'd love, say it's a Bichette and a Bregman. Wouldn't that be a dream come true? I'm cool with keeping Ceddanne. I'm cool with that. But just one with it? No, I'm not cool with it. And that's why it's going to be an interesting decision that's going to get made here, whether it happens or not.
No, absolutely right. I mean, these are complementary players. Ceddanne Rafaela is not a force in that lineup. Abreu is not a force in that lineup. Duran is not a force in that lineup. These are all complementary players. John, same question to you. Do you want Alex Broken Legman back?
I mean, if it comes down to a 4 or 5 year deal, I'm open to the idea of it. Is it my first choice personally? No, but when you factor in kind of all the off the field stuff that he attributes with this Red Sox roster, with how young it is, I think that goes a lot further than just beyond the field. If he's gonna every single year run into these injuries, turns me off completely on him. But just the person he is in the dugout. And the player he is when he is healthy on the field, I think that's a massive help for this roster at this point in time. But I mean, to me, the plan A is and will be until he's off the board is the Bo Bichette. And I mean, Nick, I think that if we're talking up to $200 million on him, I think it's going to get a lot further than 5 years. But that also scares me with Bichette because I don't think that the Red Sox are ready to give out an 8-year contract to a guy, regardless of what his age is.
There's some people commenting in the thing that's over here, and I want to make sure that those comments, folks, those were the dollar figures that came out reported by Rosenthal and other baseball execs. So these aren't numbers I'm just spewing out of hot air. These numbers came out. These are the reports. Bregman was 5 years. Wasn't it 5 years, 175? And I think it was 5 years, 150 for Bo Bichette. These aren't my numbers. This is what baseball reporters are saying here. So we're just coming at you with what they're saying. Believe me, I think that would be a bargain if that was what he would end up getting. But before you want to roast me, go and roast your other guys that's out there, please.
Here's the other thing about why Bichette is the better choice, in my mind. We've talked about a lot of the fact that he's younger. You can sign him to a longer-term deal. You're going to get more out of him and so forth. Look, the bottom line with Contreras is he's a defensive upgrade at first base. We can all agree over Casas, right? And Abraham Toro and so forth. So if you want to believe that Bo Bichette is a more substandard defender than Alex Bregman was, work with me here. This is just another reason why I think the Bichette discussion and that choice for signing is better than Bregman. Now, for everything else we've mentioned, but if Bichette is a more of a substandard defender, you have a better first baseman now. So you could lean towards the poorer defense because you have a better first baseman. I mean, it might be a stretch, but work with me. So you can lean towards spending more on maybe a more offensive player in Bichette because you don't have to worry about having sure-handed defense, impeccable defense at third with Bregman, because now you can put Meyer at third base, who we know is major league ready at third base. There's no question about his ability defensively. We don't know what the bat looks like in full because he's been injured quite often every season that he's been in professional baseball. So it's just another one of those intangibles I want to put out there about why I'm more pro Bichette, and with the fact that he said he's open to playing second base, because obviously we have a shortstop right now. And unless Story's going to say, I'll be a team player, I'll move over. And the last point I want to make on the Bichette signing, if you are a member of the Red Sox right now, if you're Duran, if you're Abreu, if you're Story, if you're Connor Wong, I don't care who it is, you bring back Bregman, it's a great story. Okay, fine. You go out and you spend 7 or 8 years on a Bo Bichette. Doesn't that make the players look at this and say, whoa, holy crap, this is fantastic. Maybe they go and press a little bit harder. Maybe they try a little bit harder, because now they're looking at this and saying, we're taking a bigger leap here. We're taking a bigger step to try to be a championship caliber team. Nick, I'll start with you. What's your thoughts on my comments?
I would think a player would think like that, but I also think because some of this core loves Alex Bregman, they're probably going to cry under their pillow if he leaves, because some of them I still feel aren't built for Boston. Some of these guys. If Bo Bichette comes here, that's a different identity. And that's what I really like on the point that you brought there, is that it's another, wow, look at that. We just got this shiny, flashy new player to join our team and hope to win. For me, if I was one of those players in that uniform, that would jumpstart me. I would want to run through a wall, because it would mean we just want to get better and get that championship in us. Other than Bregman, I mean, we've been there, done that. It's kind of like same old, same old. Oh, I'm going to keep doing my same old crap and maybe we'll win. It just isn't. It's not sexy. It's not exciting. It's just blah. And I'm tired of blah. I don't know if you guys are, but I'm blot out. Bring some life to the party. And that's what we don't have. It's almost like we're the Boston Lifeless Sox.
John, your comments on my take.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you hit it right on the head, or you hit the nail right on the head with the hammer. I think that Bregman is, you get the good PR out of it, bringing him back. I know the Red Sox are going to go off on a tangent with that. We got our guy back and, all that nonsense. But yeah, I think that bringing in a guy like Bo Bichette kind of changes the mindset for the other 25 guys that are going to be in the dugout on game 1 of 162. And as Nick said it, I completely agree. I think that everybody kind of presses a little bit harder in spring training. I think everybody goes in to the season with a kind of a different mindset of not like, are we a playoff team? Can we make a division series? I think everybody goes into the season with the expectation of we're going to be in the ALCS and we're competing for a world championship. So, yeah, I mean, I can think that you kind of nailed it, just like the difference between getting a Bregman back or going out and getting that big free agent.
Here's the other thing, too. I know I keep adding to this storyline. I brought up 2 points today, substandard defense, but you got a better first baseman now. And then obviously bringing in a big splash with Bichette. The other thing is that Bichette is coming into a Boston team. Let's say they get him. You're leaving a team that just was in the championship series, the World Series. He's coming here. He's going to be motivated because he's going to want that team to go there. Is Alex Bregman motivated? Is my question. Alex Bregman is motivated by Scott Boras getting him a big contract. Alex Bregman has championships. Alex Bregman has been to the playoffs for 10 consecutive years. Is Alex Bregman motivated to work hard to get the Boston Red Sox of 2026 and beyond a championship? That's my question to you. So I think that Bo Bichette would be a more motivated player. Moving right along, again, just some really small points right now, just to kind of around the league. Jeff McNeil, who is a pretty good second baseman in his own right, traded to the A's. and now the Mets are believed to be exploring the Ketel Marte trade talks. John, I'll start with you. We're looking for a second baseman. Could the Red Sox have gotten involved in this?
Could they have? Yes. Would Craig Breslow have ever come close to closing a deal with somebody not named Time Bloom? Probably not. And I don't think that you could name one Red Sox fan that said, I want Jeff McNeil on the Red Sox in 2026. So, I mean, he goes to the A's. I don't even know what the return for him was. So, that kind of is what it is. Now, what I would be concerned about is if with the Mets being involved now in the Ketel Marte sweepstakes, that's a team that will dig out their entire farm system to get what they want. We know that Steve Cohen has gone out and paid gobs of money, overpaid gobs of money for tons of free agents since he took over the team or since he bought the team. So, I mean, if they're in the sweepstakes for Ketel, I'd be concerned about that. And I think that puts a little bit of pressure on Craig Breslow to get something done regarding your Alex Bregman, your Bo Bichette, or Ketel Marte.
Nick, same question to you. Your thoughts on McNeil? Could we have been involved in there? I mean, would you have even wanted him? I know he's left-handed, so that is a sticking point.
Again, it's not Chaim Bloom who's in charge of the Mets. So, I mean, there's a pipe dream of happening if he wanted to go down that front for it. This is not the same Jeff McNeil from 2022 when he was an all-star with the Mets. Had a 326 batting average that season, batting champ. He's had two down seasons, 2024, 2025. 2023 was pretty decent. He had a 270, 333 on base. He slugged 378 that season, played in 156 games. He's played in a decent amount of games, which is good. The last two seasons, he's been in the 120-ish range. So not bad overall on that front. But I think that with what you got right now, with your Romy Gonzalez types, and even I'll throw Nick Sogar's name in there. And who knows with Marcelo Meyer on what you do on that front. I think I would have been pretty okay with the pass on this and kind of see what else the market has out there. I am pretty intrigued about the I guess I would say intrigued, being more interested on a Brendan Donovan type from the Cardinals, just because we already know that if Breslow offered something, Chaim Bloom will probably say, sure, throw me back one of my other prospects that I want back. So I think there was probably more legs to that. And again, with the report coming out as soon as this pod started on that, I would be pretty surprised if something didn't materialize on that front, to tell you the truth. And I think that will sadly kind of end the discussion on the Bo Bichette front and the Ketel Marte front. The question is, will they still get Bregman out of this? That's a coin flip to me right now. Am I okay with it? Do I think that this makes the team better and gets them to another level for a postseason? No, I don't. But they're proven major leaguers. I can at least give you that, guys, outside of some of the other things that we've had to deal with over the past couple seasons. So I guess if you want positivity, there's positivity to you. The other thing I wanted to mention too, before we jump back, I appreciate everybody's comments that are on the side here tonight. This is one of our better commented pods that we've had in quite a bit of time. And I just want to throw a shout out to some of you people that have some decent and good amount of things to say. Some of them I roll my eyes with, but there are some good things, and we'll go over those, I'm sure, a little bit later. So I appreciate those that are commenting and kind of joining in here on this live show.
The thing I want to comment on the Brendan Donovan, maybe it would have been just easier for all of us if Breslow and Bloom got together and said, listen, give me Gray, give me Contreras, give me Donovan, give me Arenado, give me Arenado. Just put them all in like one, put them in one all you can eat trade and be done with this nonsense. Nick, you brought up a really important point. If they go and they get Donovan, I am scared that that's the end of any talk with Ketel Marte or Bichette.
It will be.
And then, like you said, it's back to Bregman. And see, this is what really irritates me again about the trades and the acquisitions that they get, and why people say you're so negative. No, see, you're spending the offseason just recavaching the guys that you didn't have that are either platoon players. You had platoon players at first, you had platoon players at second. So, okay, now you're getting some guys that can play 150 games a year, 160 games a year. That sounds great and all, but you're just getting stopgaps, 2-year deals. And then what's going to happen is in another 2 years, you're going to be doing this all over again. And that's what you've been seeing since 2019. Your Garrett Richards, your James Paxtons, your Patrick Sandoval's, you all these guys, Bueller 1 year, Giolito 2 years. You can't keep doing this. They don't want to spend the money, and Thayer loves when I say this, they are constantly walking over dollars to pick up dimes. And it's no different this offseason as well, even though we were led to believe otherwise. Real quickly, 60 seconds. I'll start with you, Nick, because you and I talked about this off air. The Seattle Mariners sign a first baseman. His name is Rob Refsnyder. He has a 1 year, $6.25 million deal. The Seattle Mariners bagged their first baseman, Nick.
I have this very weird suspicion that there was no conversation with Rob Refsnyder when we had absolutely no hope in the land when Casas went down and first base became a black hole for this team. I have a weird suspicion that they never went to Rob Refsnyder to ask him. I have a weird suspicion that there was nothing done on that front. They didn't even ask. That's exactly what I think went down. Now, I do want to say to Rob Refsnyder, true pro, congratulations on the $6.25 million deal with the Mariners, plus a $250,000 incentive. He hit the lottery on that. Congrats to Rob on that. Seattle, boy, they're paying that much money for a lefty assassin, I guess, for out there. I would not have paid that for Rob, respectfully. I wish him all the best. And I thank him for his time that's here. But get ready for Nate Eaton, boys. Get ready, because here he comes.
John, your reactions to Refsnyder signing in Seattle?
Yeah, so I mean, the first note that I have on him, it comes from GG's_MLB on Twitter or X. Since 2022, Refsnyder hit 276, 364, 440 as a triple slash with a 124 WRC plus with the Red Sox. And in 2024, he had a 941 OPS against left-handed pitchers, 2025, a 959 OPS against lefties. Guys, as Nick said, he's a gamer. He's a professional's professional. He was just a stud with during his time in Boston. I'm going to miss him. And to go to your point about if the Red Sox ever asked him about playing third base, I agree. Doubt they ever did. I also bet that he probably asked the Red Sox if he could pick up a glove, and I bet Alex Cora told him no.
Said no.
Absolutely, yeah. I guarantee you that happens. But I mean, he was a leader in the clubhouse. He has an electric nickname. I loved calling Robbie Rockets whenever he was coming up to the plate. And he was a dependable bat whenever he was called upon, whether he was pitch hitting or coming in as the platoon bat that he was. But yeah, congratulations to him for securing that $6 million contract. I think he got around $5 million in total during his entire tenure in Boston. So I'm happy that he's getting paid what he's deserved. And, for what's a good chance to be the final contract he ever signs in baseball, just hats off to him in securing that deal. To add on to that, I think the Red Sox were okay with letting him go. There's no way that they were going to pay him $6 million. And two, as you brought it to light, Nate Eaton, he's going to kind of fill into that role now. And I think for the direction that the Red Sox are headed in, he kind of fits into that mold. He could play the outfield. He could play the infield. He's got speed. His bat skills are still kind of yet to be proven. But I think that it also adds that as we talk about where Refsnyder played, he was Wilyer Abreu's platoon bat in the lineup. And I think that the Red Sox are gonna, pending if he's gonna be on the team come opening day, I think his leash is longer, and I think he's gonna start taking on that full-time job in right field, which means that Alex Cora is gonna let him start hitting against the left-handed pitchers, and I think that's a big step for his development.
Yeah, you're going to see a lot more of Nate Eaton. I mean, what the Red Sox want here is just the flexibility of having an infielder and outfielder. But then again, we didn't know that Rob Refsnyder was a first baseman, so we could have used him there instead
also
of
said second baseman on his baseball reference page too.
It did. I think he came up as a second baseman with the Yankees, didn't he?
Yep.
So,
but we just had to put David Hamilton over there any opportunity that we could, just to make ourselves even more miserable than ever.
And not have another right-handed bat in the lineup. Exactly. That's just the way the Red Sox work.
Make sense.
A couple things with some of the comments from Jose. Hello. How are you? Ambrosia Hamilton. Hi. Salty Grampy said, you look old enough to remember John Tudor, Bruce Hurst, and Bobby Ojeda, all homegrown. Totally and early remind me of them. I think it remains to be seen. I think we're hopeful on that. But, you're also looking at this from a standpoint of past history, right? I mean, you're looking at it, 40 years ago, and you know what their careers were. We don't know what these careers are going to be. There were a lot of guys that came through this organization that were can't miss, and it just didn't work out. Who was that lefty, Nick, that they wanted to that was supposed to come up and be fantastic, that they wouldn't even trade Cole Hamels for to Philly, I think it was.
Oh, that was Henry Owens.
Yes. Remember Henry Owens was supposed to be a sure thing? He was the next Randy Johnson.
Do I win a Rob Refsnyder contract for that answer?
You get to play first base for the Seattle Mariners.
Oh, yes.
Yep. So moving along, I can't put this one on there, but 5 years, $200 million. Again, I know Nick commented on that before. It wouldn't be 5; it would be 7.
I'm
8
not baked. I have to make sure a budget department knows. No, I'm not baked. Just crispy.
Yeah. Dave DePari, who is a regular of ours, please tell this man Bichette isn't taking a 5-year deal, 27, 7 or 8. Yeah, we know that. It's absolutely going to be, something like 7 or 8. It's just what you're seeing in some of these reports. If 5 was the bottom of what Nick was really meaning was 5 was the kind of like the playing field, right? That was probably the bottom of it. And
just
it's just
going off those reports that what we were. It's a start. It was the starting entry point. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. Moving right along, Salty Grampy, dude hits 9th. If he gets on first and he steals second, scores on a base hit. I think he's talking about Rafaela. The problem with Rafaela is he doesn't get enough contact. That's the issue with him.
Doesn't get on base. That's his other issue. He just doesn't.
His on-base percentage is really poor. We would like to, because you get good turnover, right, on that lineup, but he's just not reliable enough. And again, what Nick was saying, we don't hate Rafaela, but we don't have enough elite talent on the roster to support him being a below average hitter. That's the bottom line.
Here's a classic example. 2018, Jackie Bradley Jr.'s one of his best seasons because he was hidden in the 9 spot. He was perfect there, and he didn't get exposed because your whole lineup had length. This organization lacks any sort of length in any of their roster since you lost Bogarts, JD Martinez, so on and so forth.
Yep.
Yeah, and to add one more piece on Ceddanne Rafaela, it's not like he doesn't make contact with the ball. He strikes out 19.9% of the time, or he did in 2025, which was a major upgrade over his rookie season in 24. So he makes contact with the ball. It's just a lot of pop-ups. It's a lot of weak contact. And, that's his biggest problem right now. He always has the 2 weeks where he goes absolutely nuts, but then you get 4 weeks of him hitting at a 190 to maybe 210 clip, and everybody wants him off the team and back in Worcester.
The problem
I can't wait for another season with Pete Fatsy. Can't wait for that.
The problem, guys, I think, starts and ends with launch angle. That's the problem. These guys are trying to hit home runs on every pitch instead of playing to the strength of their at bat and trying to move runners over. You see that a lot with Duran. He's terrible. He doesn't play the count properly. Guys with speed like that, you saw this in the movie Major League, right? With your kind of speed, you should be hitting him to the ground and legging him out. And he would get safe at first, and then he could steal second. It's a Ricky Henderson type of thing. Ricky Henderson got on base. He got a walk. He's on third in 2 pitches. Don't forget Oil Can Boyd. Yeah, can't forget the can. Salty Grampy says, I had lefties in mind. I'm not sure exactly what that was about. Al Nipper and some guy named Clemens pitched in that era. Sure did. Obviously, we're Clemens fans. Al Nipper was pretty good. Bob Stanley, another one, as a closer. Any move will be a positive ad. We
don't know. Positive.
It depends on that. Not every single one, but Dave again. Rosenthal is more of a here's my opinion man now, and he thinks what they should do instead of breaking stories. He goes in his gut instead of facts. That's been Rosenthal's way for the longest time. I'm not a Rosenthal fan. I'll just be honest with you as well. Jules said, we ain't getting Bo. Just stop. I have no faith, to be honest with you. If, gun to my head, I have no faith we're going to get him either, but I'm going to relate.
Though. We want to go on our want list.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're going to remain hopeful until we know and the fat lady is singing, and then we can either be joyous or we can rip them. Matthew Wright says we want another Martinello minute coming up on our next show. Is Bo worth
a friend?
Is Bo worth $180 million? The answer is yes. Okay,
I'll sign the check right now.
Absolutely.
Oh, I don't have that money.
Yep. Jules said they're not serious about winning. They're not. Here's the thing. They just want to back their door into the third wild card and say, look, if X amount of dollars of our payroll, let's call it $235 million. If $235 million is the third wild card and $289 million is the first division championship, why pay $50 million more for players when we can sneak in and then hope for the best? That's how they're attacking this. Duran, a Sox fan for life. Duran and Tolley, too much for Marte. I think what bothers me more is his intangibles about, being kind of like not a team player and having some off-field stuff. When you look at that and add that into the equation, I might be convinced with what you say there. But, remains to be seen. I don't have a lot of faith that they're going to go in that direction anyway, after what we've been seeing with Donovan. Salty Grampy again. Also, Massa and Casas have options for AAA. Do they now Rusney them and rotate the extra outfield and Willson through the DH spot?
It would have happened last season, guys.
It probably should have. It probably should have. They're not going to put Massa in AAA. It's just not going to happen. I can't see.
Casas will be in AAA, but not Yoshida.
Yeah. That's the move to make. He would be the one that would go there. Matthew Wright wants another Martinello minute. Notre Dame kid wants it. We love the Martinello minute. You got a lot of fans here, John.
Appreciate it.
Yankees smoke Sox though. I don't know. I don't know if they smoke the Sox or not. They probably smoke Marlboros or something like that.
The Yankees did not win that series, folks. The Red Sox lost because they stunk up the house. They gave it to them. Let's be real.
Salty Grampy again. Massa better to be part of the next trade to the Cardinals. I'm surprised.
Damn well better believe it.
He's Bloom's whoopee, isn't he? I mean, he should be in that next trade. And you know what?
I drive him there personally.
Here's the thing. If Breslow and Bloom work out a deal and Massa is traded to the Cardinals, I'll take back everything I've ever said about either one of them. How about them apples? And then Salty Grampy lastly is going to miss Rob. It's really, really good. I liked having him here. He was just a professional hitter. That's the bottom line. he did what needed to be done, and he didn't complain.
Here's a great comp. I love my comps. You know how we do that. You know who he reminded me of a lot? Gabe Kapler.
Yes. Great comparison. Yep. Just a professional hitter. He wasn't necessarily the best hitter. Mike Karp, those kind of guys. But you know what? He played hard. He played every day that you got him in that lineup. I saw him make some amazing catches. Remember that one that he caught and he kind of, he went like this and everything at that point. It's just a great guy. I wish him all the best with that. That being said, any final takes? John, I'll start with you. Any final takes for the night?
Yeah, so Red Sox right now are around the $244 million CBT threshold after this Contreras trade. It's about $5 million under what their payroll was at the height of it last year. According to Sean McAdam, Red Sox are hesitant to go beyond that, go beyond the next threshold. That's at $264 million. So right now, Boston's about $20 million under that number. So the question that I'm going to ask to you guys is how can they exactly add to this point without exceeding that $264 million number, and preferably stay a couple million under that in order to save some room for making trades during the middle of the season. Making trades over the middle of that season and potentially going beyond that.
Nick, I don't know what your final take is for the day, but I'll just show this because we want to make sure that we have new news, right? We don't want to have old news like our competitor, the Toad, might think us or allege us to believe. According to Kevin Rosenthal, a rival executive thinks the Red Sox have been quietly shopping Brian Bayo. Any comments, guys?
That was one of my last points, but I had a backup. Don't you worry. I would be fine with this because I think we've seen what the ceiling is here for Brian Bayo. We know what he is, and I'm not satisfied enough. We had this huge thing with him thinking he was the next Pedro Martinez when he came up, and I'm sorry. I'm disappointed. I think he's a poor man's Eduardo Rodriguez, truthfully. I think maturity is a real problem with him. Yes, he made steps to get to a certain spot, but I think we've reached that ceiling. So for me, happy trails to you.
The other thing I think with Bayo, if you are serious about moving him, and I don't know if the Red Sox really are serious or not, this is a prime opportunity in his career to do so. He's on a team-friendly deal. He's in the fourth year of his career. He's got upside. He's young. This would be the time for them to move him. So
if they're going to move him, better be in that Ketel Marte trade.
Well, it's either that or they're going to have to go out and get either, Bichette or some other move that we don't see. I know Red Sox Nation and Twitter is trying to talk about how stealth that Breslow is, but we'll see how it goes. That being said, I do want to wrap up tonight.
Wait a minute. There was one more thing I wanted to say.
Sure.
Do you have any like game show music in the background? Because I want to finish with a trivia question to ask the both of you guys on this one. This is a good one. You'll like it. Anything in the background there? Sure. Fine. So there was an interesting tweet that came out from Red Sox Stats today. I don't know if any of you saw it, but I was stunned by this revelation on situational hitting. Best hitter last season for the Red Sox in situational hitting was Yoshida. He went 12 for 12 in getting runners home from third with less than 2 outs. 12 for 12. I was stunned by that. Can you guys name the worst hitter in this exact same situation? Would you like a multiple choice answer on this? Because I could give it.
Nick, I'm not going to answer this one because I bookmarked this tweet and I was going to bring it up on the show tonight.
Did you? Yeah, I was stunned by it. Jim, do you know who it is?
You know what? I played that gong and your audio cut out. Say the question again.
So the question is, who was the worst hitter in getting runners home from third with less than 2 outs?
This in 2025?
Yes.
Alex Bregman.
No. John, give him the answer. It's my BFF.
Carlos Narvaez.
Narvi.
One of my BFFs. Yeah. Only 27% of the time runners got home from third with less than 2 outs. I actually thought it was going to be Duran, but 44%. I was pretty stunned on that because I can remember a ton of blown opportunities with bases loaded in particular by Duran. And it wasn't him. How it went? It went Navarez was 1. Wong, no surprise there, 31% of the time. Hamilton, no shocker there again, 31% of the time. Then it was Rafaela. So all those people, oh, Rafaela's a god. He's not. Story, and then Duran. Garbage, garbage, and more garbage with the bat at times.
Yeah, and Duran was at 44% on this particular stat, and Sox Stats went on to note that the league average for this particular statistic was 51% for the whole league in 2025.
Awesome. Well, on that note, we're going to call it for tonight. I'd like to thank Nick and John for being on tonight's show. If you haven't subscribed to our digital newsletter product, it is at redsoxdigest.com. That is our website. We have daily articles during the season for play-by-play analysis and review of every single game that the Red Sox play, as well as commentary throughout the season and the offseason. As far as future shows go, we don't know what it's going to look like. We'll probably be available as soon as some news breaks. We'll fix it. If it isn't before Christmas, then what I want to do is I want to wish everyone a Feliz Navidad, since you brought him up, and I'll see myself.
Except for Toad Boy.
Oh boy, yeah, he's busy doing some pizza Ubering. So that being said, I will talk to everybody on a next episode. John, Nick, thanks very much. To all our listeners and everyone who was in the comment section, have a great night, and we will see you soon.